Tonight on KGW News. What fueled this massive explosion that shook a neighborhood and destroyed at least 2 homes?
It was like a war zone at first.
Crazy. Very insane.
Plus, how Portland police response times have doubled with many crimes not even touched.
We're dealing with real world problems and we have to be able to respond.
Then a laundry list of charges for a former county commissioner. How she's now accused of taking advantage of her mother before fleeing the country. And the local business owner determined to help after a pair of massive earthquakes hit her homeland.
We are so far away from there. You feel that your hands are tied.
Welcome to the weekend, everyone. We want to get right to a weather impact alert with a chance for what you might call an active Saturday. David Molko here alongside meteorologist Chris McGinnis. Chris, good to see you. What are you tracking for tomorrow?
Some might call it active. Others might call it cool for late June. And also, yes, showery. We are watching this, David. Cool low pressure diving through the Northeast Pacific. We had a little lull in the rain today, but that will be on the uptick tomorrow as this low pivots and basically centers directly over Oregon and Washington tomorrow. So yes, we do have the KGW weather impact alert tomorrow, primarily from late morning into the late afternoon hours for showers. Okay, nothing out of the ordinary about that, but some of those showers could be quite heavy. And with the freezing levels as low as we expect them to be, down around maybe 8,000, 8,500 feet, that also brings in the potential for some small hail and some thunder. So if thunder does occur, you need to shelter. Wait for a few minutes, let the storms pass, and then we'll be back on our way. So it's not going to be a gloom and doom Saturday, but it is a little out of the ordinary for late June. We're going to see some splash showers here popping up overnight and into the early morning hours. And as the day gets going and we get a little daytime heating, those showers get a little more energy. You can see some yellows and orange blobs popping up. Don't get too fixated on where exactly you see those. The point is that the atmosphere here west of the Cascades will be conducive to some heavy downpours and maybe a rumble of thunder. Not everybody will see that, but it's in the cards for at least a possible situation. All right, 60 degrees last check in Vancouver. And our forecast tomorrow, again, chance of showers early, and then that shower chance increases late morning into the afternoon. Therein also lies the chance for maybe some thunder and daytime highs. This is the other story. Very, very cool. And David, we are likely to remain on the cool side for at least the next 7 days, which takes us into, of course, next weekend. We'll get into more detail on that in just a bit.
All right, active, cool, and a little bit uncertain. Thanks, Chris. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, former Clackamas County Commissioner Melissa Fireside, remember her, already on the run from theft charges, has been indicted on 19 new charges. Fireside is now accused of using her mother's credit card and using her mom's personal information in order to get a loan. This allegedly happened after she was elected. Keep in mind, Fireside had already been charged with stealing some $60,000 from her mother's 83-year-old boyfriend. She disappeared after her arraignment. Officials say they believe she left the country with her 9-year-old son. New tonight in southeast Portland, an SUV crashed into a bus stop and a building exterior. Though somehow no one was hurt. This was at 142nd and Division. You can see the crash shattered the glass on the bus stop there. Firefighters say it did not damage the building, which is a storage business. The car hitting meters on the outside instead. No word yet on the cause. And state officials are asking for your help finding a 2-year-old missing from the Portland Metro. The Department of Human Services says Armani Andrews went missing last Wednesday, and they are not saying much about the circumstances. They believe he is in danger, though, and say he's typically been seen around the Rose Haven Day Shelter, downtown Central Library, or in outer southeast Portland. If you see Armani, call 911 right away. Developing this evening, while 911 call wait times in the city of Portland are down, it turns out police response times have more than doubled in the past decade. That's according to a newly released report that also says most property crimes reported are never investigated. Jake Holter's in the newsroom. Jake, perhaps not a coincidence that this comes as the Police Bureau is pushing for more funding.
Yeah, and some are urging voters to sign a petition that could get a measure on the November ballot to require the city to hire more officers. Meanwhile, the report from the city's own Office of Public Safety paints a picture of a bureau in desperate needs of upping its ranks.
We need to put some respect on the police name.
We need to be able to create time and space for that appropriate level of response.
Doubled response times, tips that go uninvestigated, and a whole lot of overtime. That's the state of the Portland Police Bureau, according to a newly released report.
The challenge you face with an understaffed, under-resourced police department is the environment can become very intense, where you're just going from call to call to call.
Portland Police Chief Bob Day and City Councilor Loretta Smith discussing the need for more resources at an event Friday.
We're dealing with real-world problems, and we have to be able to respond.
The report finds response times to crimes in progress have increased from 8 minutes to 20 minutes in the last 10 years. For crimes not in progress, many times PPB lacks the staff to investigate at all. As an example, about 80% of child abuse tips go without an investigator, and the majority of property crimes get little to no follow-up. This also leaves little time for community outreach or foot patrols.
Portlanders call the Portland Police on their worst possible day at their worst possible time, over 200,000 times a year. And we should be established in a way that we can meet that demand.
Enter the Portland Enhanced Community Safety Initiative. This ballot measure, backed by police, would reroute 25% of Portland Clean Energy Fund revenue to public safety, generating approximately $50 million a year. Police say that would help them to reach their goal of having 2 officers per 1,000 residents. Currently, that number is 1.2 officers per 1,000 residents. And it's worth noting, initiative organizers have until July 6th, that's a week from next Monday, to get enough signatures to put the measure on the November ballot. David?
That's Jake Holter in the newsroom. Thanks, Jake.
It looks like a war zone. We're talking about, again, hundreds of high rises that just fell to the ground with many people in their homes because it was a holiday in Caracas that day.
Well, aid and rescue crews from all over the world arriving in Venezuela as that country grapples with a staggering toll of 2 massive earthquakes that struck on Wednesday. 900 people have now died and more than 50,000 are missing. Just think about those numbers. Meanwhile, Venezuelans in Portland are doing what they can to raise money and to collect donations, everything from clothes and shoes to blankets and non-perishable food to send abroad. A local restaurant owner organizing a donation drive tomorrow in partnership with the nonprofit Venezuela's Voice in Oregon. You can drop off supplies at 2 Portland restaurants. They are the Q and the Z. That's from noon to 7.
We are in need of help and support because they need to be treated. And also the ones that are still under those buildings that have fallen, they need to be saved.
A little housekeeping. If you want to donate elsewhere, make sure it is a well-established group. You can use the IRS's search tool to make sure. Also make sure to pay using a credit card since those payments are more likely to be insured. Well, we're following up this evening on a KGW investigative series into nitrous oxide. It's also known as laughing gas, something we have learned is no laughing matter because since our initial reporting, we've seen lawmakers in Oregon and Washington take action. And now, as Kyle Aboshi found out, some leaders want to go bigger.
We found them in convenience stores, gas stations, and smoke shops. Big, colorful tanks, often in fruity flavors.
Fruit punch, cosmic grape, strawberry stardust.
Nitrous oxide, or laughing gas, as easy to buy as a soda or a bag of chips.
Big sucker, huh? Yeah. Space gas, strawberry stardust.
Now, Congressman Kevin Mullen is stepping in. The California Democrat has proposed a bill banning the retail sale of nitrous oxide to consumers, including online sales.
I really believe there needs to be a federal ban on this.
For years, people used small doses of nitrous oxide as a party drug by inhaling the cartridges used to make whipped cream. Recently, though, health officials have raised concerns after a surge in dangerous cases and deaths. Previously, KGW spoke with a Gresham couple temporarily paralyzed after prolonged use of the gas. We also met a Portland man recovering from the depths of addiction and interviewed someone who lost a loved one. The driver responsible for his father's death had dozens of nitrous canisters in his daughter's Minnie Mouse backpack.
The fact that this guy had over 70 cans of this nitrous in his daughter's backpack. I was like, who does this?
Federal law prohibits the sale of nitrous oxide for recreational use, inhaling it. But companies can get around that if they say it's for food use only. Look closely, there's often a disclaimer on the packaging. This loophole allows them to sell it legally as a culinary product, in sizes absurd for chefs, but ideal for huffing.
Does this close the legal loophole?
If we have a federal ban, it's going to be much harder for people to get their hands on this for recreational use.
Under Congressman Mullen's proposal, nitrous oxide cannot be sold to consumers regardless of whether it's labeled as a food product or has a warning. Cities and states across the U.S. have passed laws restricting access. Last year, Oregon made it tougher for young people to buy nitrous. And in March of this year, Washington became the second state to ban the retail sale of nitrous oxide.
There's too many gaps out there across the country in terms of how nitrous oxide is regulated. So it's really calling out for federal action.
The bill, which has bipartisan support, requires anyone using nitrous for legitimate uses to prove it and ensure that it's not getting into the hands of consumers. The goal? Get these colorful tanks off store shelves and protect families and communities from what's become a dangerous, even deadly drug.
It's Kyle Boshi reporting there. By the way, Senator Ron Wyden is working on similar legislation in the Senate, which he hopes to introduce later this summer. For much more, check out our award-winning investigative documentary, Nitrous, the Legal Loophole. Great work by Kyle and team. It's available anytime on demand on our free TV streaming app, KGW+.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
An explosive display from the Oregon Army National Guard this week, training in Idaho. Guard members working with a heavy lift drone to carry what was essentially a big pipe bomb over an obstacle, dropping it safely and flying off before that big boom. The idea to reduce the risk to people by clearing pathways from things like barbed wire or mines to allow troops to advance safely.